Hi, it's Larry Herb, Xbox's Major Nelson. Welcome to the Xbox Podcast. This is our final podcast of 2021, so I want to thank you all for liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, really just tuning in and supporting us. So at that point, now that I've done all that and got that out of the way, let me bring Jeff in. Jeff, hello, happy holidays.
Why is there only 2 boxes here, Larry?
Well, because by the way, that is a very excellent question, because if I were to bring in 3 boxes, one of them would be empty.
Oh.
So Rebecca's, unfortunately, she is not with us today. She'll appear later on in the show in an interview, but she's actually traveling for the holiday. We're recording this as she's traveling, so she couldn't join us. She was regretfully not here.
I'm actually going to get to see Rebecca for the first time in person in 2 years.
Is it?
I think. Well, maybe not quite, but close. Next week when she's in town, so that will be great. But she is missed today.
I think I'm going to be out of
town.
And
there's Minecraft news too.
There's Minecraft
you're
news.
Leaving.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back east for the holiday to see my family and whatnot. So I'll be a traveling man.
I'm going to be going east too.
When? When are you going east?
This weekend. Yeah. So
do I know this?
I'll be there for a week. Did we not talk about this?
Where are you going?
Well, I'm going to Florida, home of Florida Man and also my family.
You definitely didn't tell me this. You go to see your mom and your sister?
I caved. I didn't want to go. But I'm an uncle now,
right?
For the first time, and I haven't met
untrue. Untrue.
What?
My daughter calls you Uncle Jeffrey.
Sure, there's that part, yes. And my kid, every older person's an uncle, but
right,
or auntie. But my sister was like never going to have a kid, and then she met the right guy, and well, now I'm an uncle. So,
good.
But she had the unfortunate timing of being born in August, and I said, "Guess who's never going to Florida in August?"
You.
Because I've done that, and that's me. And so I'm the absentee uncle, but she'll deal with that, and I'll be there. Plus, how much does what is she, 4 or 5 months old now? Like you don't, at that age, you don't know nothing.
Fair point.
So I'm going to bring her, I should probably bring her something, right? I got a lot of things to think about here in the next day or so.
I didn't realize you were going.
I'm going to be that guy that goes to the airport and have a Seattle sweatshirt. What do you say? Small? They only had a medium. You can sleep on it.
Now boarding flight 27 to Miami, and you're going to be pulling stuff off.
It's seriously, here's some mints from the plane. Here's some Biscoff. Those Biscoff. Oh, no solid food yet. Got it.
Passenger Jeff Rubenstein, please make your way to your flight immediately with the boarding doors closing. We've all heard that.
Yeah. Well, I'm in that mode now, and I feel like gamers do this. It's like, okay, so it's like whatever, a 5-hour flight to Miami, give or take, from Seattle, and I have like 50 hours worth of things to play and watch during that time. And then what'll happen is I'll just end up,
falling asleep,
scrolling Twitter or something,
or that. Asleep,
yeah. But I've got, I can't wait. I've got downloaded. YouTube finally got me. And I upgraded to YouTube
because they've been bothering you about a trial forever. Is that why?
They've been every time. But I was like, nope. But then I realized that allows you to download, and I'm power on the story of Xbox, the 6-part documentary that we've been talking about since the anniversary on the 15th of November, is out now. Yep. And you can watch it on YouTube. And the best way for me to watch it on the plane would be to just download it onto
download them all,
my tablet or whatever. Yeah. And so YouTube, you got me. It was for Xbox reasons. So worth it. So I'll be watching that.
Have you been watching? So you haven't seen anything. So I think I tweeted out, or we talked about it. I, like any good character, I don't show up till episode 4.
And then are promptly killed off.
No.
I'm guessing. I don't. No. Oh wait, it's a documentary. You're still here. You're good. Yeah, that's good. I'm hoping to be in the background somewhere in like an XO for like less than a second, like the thing where you pause it and I'm like blurred and out of focus, and I'm like, that's me. No, in the corner, that's me. Yeah. So I will be looking for that, and I'll let you know if I find that.
Well, we actually got some really cool things I'm working on for next year, where I'm going to interview some more, do some in-depth podcast interviews with some of the characters. And when I say characters, some of the people that you meet in the documentary.
But some of them are characters, like from the things that I have seen.
Yeah.
So
hello, Seamus.
It'll be good.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I got to meet. Remember back when the Duke was reintroduced, I got to interview Seamus, and we've remained lightly in contact ever since. But
yeah, he's a character,
indeed.
But anyway, go check that out. Love to see. Drop in the comments what you think of the documentary. We'd love to see what you think about that one. That's now available for free on YouTube and a bunch of Microsoft TVs and movies and a bunch of other platforms as well, Roku, et cetera, et cetera.
Redbox, IMDb, TV, yeah, a lot of places.
I'm sure if you talk to you and I are good friends with the producer. I'm sure if you asked her, she could get you a DVD with them on. You just have no way to play the DVD.
What am I gonna stick a DVD into my laptop? I haven't had anything that plays a disc. I mean, I guess my Series X, so I'm sure I could just plug that in on the plane and then put it. I could technically probably do that. I don't know if that's the most efficient. I'll be bringing my S though with me because I don't want to sit there and talk to my family for a week.
Hey!
Why would I do that?
Doesn't your mom watch? Oh, that's Rebecca's mom. Your mom doesn't watch the show.
No, my mom. She does. Occasionally she'll say, I saw you tweet this and you mentioned me or something like that. So no, I just don't do that.
She's lurking. Anyway, I could see, we're talking about what we're playing before we get into some of the news. We got a bunch of interviews that we've seen from the notes. I can see, in fact, if I click this little button right here, we can see what you're playing. Halo Infinite, the campaign is now available, of course.
Yes, I haven't beaten it yet, but I've put in good 15 hours. I actually was doing the tally, you can do the thing. I mean, I'll just show you, but where you could see how long you've played a game. So if you go into your achievements, into the guide, and then you can go through from there and you could see all that. And I passed today or last night the amount of time I played in Halo 5 in its life.
Really?
Halo Infinite already. And that's how much I played. Like I've played Halo Infinite more than anything or any Halo game since Halo 2. When I used to, like, after work, I would come home and my brother, who lived a few hundred miles away, he would come home from school and we would play and I would just catch up with him. And, it was like, we would do that all the time. And then I've obviously played all the different Halos, but I didn't get into it in the way that I've gotten into Infinite. I feel like it's the best multiplayer since those days. And man, every night, like, I get on and there's a large number of my friends playing, and it's like, let me just jump into that person's game, or you're playing, and we played last night.
Yeah, we played last night. We usually go in, we'll play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, obviously, it's. I think I don't have any data around this. I just have anecdotal data. Mm-hmm. The more you win, the longer you play.
Of course, you don't want to go out. It's funny. You want to go out on a win,
right?
But if you've won 3 in a row, it's like, well, okay, let's see what happens. And then
if you lose 3 in a row, we're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Actually, that's generally how. Oh, yeah, we wrapped up pretty on a low note last night, but that just jumped in the campaign, which is great.
We sure did.
But it's great to see everybody playing. They've reshuffled the playlists that happened this week. So there were a lot of folks asking for like a Slayer only playlist. That's there now. You can just jump into Fiesta. And there's just additional, where there used to be 3 playlists. There was Big Team Battle, Quick Play, and Ranked. Yep. And now there's like double that. So a lot of, you play the way you want. And just the beginning. It's Halo Infinite. We're going to be playing this for a long time. So continued effort and rebalancing, by the way, of the challenges, which is good because we hit the next weekly challenge yesterday or this week. And the challenges this week are different. Some of the ones that were very maybe punishing have been either made less punishing or removed entirely. Some new ones are there. And, I'm just jamming through the battle pass, which is good too.
It's I'm doing pretty much the same thing. I've got my holiday logs going over here.
I see that, Larry.
Trying to get into the spirit, if you
festive,
will. Exactly.
Some singing would get us there.
No, well, not from me. You're not getting it. Maybe
not.
I don't think you're going to get a white Christmas down in Miami.
No, that's okay. I mean,
yeah, you'll have your Publix sandwiches.
I'll have my Publix sandwiches. I'll have my Cuban a lot of sandwiches, and that's at Jewish deli. I'll be eating good.
That's good. Well, that's the most important thing. We've got what else are you playing? I mean, really, it's Halo is what we're all talking about. Last week, go ahead. What do you got?
The Gunk.
Oh,
this is a game. So that dropped this week, And it's sort of my palate cleanser. It's Halo, I'm shooting things out, and in the gunk, I'm absorbing in dirt. And so
You're
it's
vacuuming
sort
things
of
up.
that counterpoint balance in all things that may have been Thanos. But the gunk is really cool indie that's available on Xbox Game Pass. And we're going to be speaking with the voice actor
Fiona.
of Ronnie. Ronnie is the protagonist who you've seen in those trailers. And she's voiced by Fiona Nova from G4 TV and formerly of Rooster Teeth. So we get to talk with her, which is really cool.
We'll have that in just a little bit. We talked about that interview. We're going to, last week at the Game Awards, which I had the pleasure of attending, you saw the release date for, yes, what do you want? What do you want?
Give us some stories. Let's hear about going to get, look, for you, this is what, your 10th Game Awards you've gone to?
Something
or
like
if
that.
you combine it with the VGAs. The overwhelming majority of the people that are listening to the show, including me, did not go to the VGAs this year or the TGAs.
Well,
so what was it like?
It was just as long in the building as it was on watching it online. I'll say that. But what was interesting was, we were sitting in the front. I hate to say this because this is not a flex. We're sitting in the front row, and Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg and Sarah are down at the other end. We've got some folks in the middle. I was sitting next to Marcus, who works on some of our partnerships, and there was an empty seat next to me. And Kiki Wolfkill from the Halo team comes walking over. This is right before, seriously, they're like getting ready to go, and the lights are coming down. They're making an announcement. And so I grab her. I said, "The seat's empty. Sit here." So she sat there, and she's lovely. We're talking through the entire thing. She's getting really excited because a project that she worked on is the Halo series that's coming to Paramount TV.
Yeah, that's great.
We showed a trailer during, so she's like, "You're really going to like it," because I hadn't seen it yet. So she was really excited for that. But the funny part is anytime anybody walked by, she was tensing up because she thought they were going to tap her on the shoulder to get her out. So sure enough, right after in the first half of the show, we're going through, and there's the people were kind of looking at her chair, and it was I think I don't know whose chair we were sitting, but I think it was somebody big, so they reset them. I'll just say that.
Where's Reggie gonna sit? He's done his segment.
Right. Exactly? Where's Reggie? Kind of comes over and looks down and just keeps walking. So anyway, but we're sitting in the front row, and it was lovely just to see everybody in real life. There was so many great folks there from the community, from the industry. I didn't get a chance to talk to Jeff Keighley. This is his awards. He and I were texting back and forth afterwards, of course. But it's so nice to be in that building, and that's the Microsoft Theater where you and I have spent many, many hours getting ready for our E3 briefing and doing events. So it was lovely to kind of be back home. But it was nice to be there. One of the great things was they announced the delicious last course for Cuphead, the DLC coming.
It's a great trailer. That was really well done.
Well, it's a trailer, but it was the live performance that was the mind blower.
Oh, of course. Yes, that's right. There was a trio of singers.
True ladies.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And
now it reminded me, I need to finish that game.
Well, so we're going to talk about Maya and Chad from the Studio MDHR. We've got them on the show later on. They're great friends of Xbox, great friends of the show.
Super nice people.
So we're going to talk to them. We're going to talk about, you talked about the Duke. I have, where is it?
Well, here's the flex, whatever it is you've got.
I've got the Cortana Duke from Hyperkin. We're going to talk to, and it's an approved Xbox accessory. We're going to talk to Scott.
I didn't see that.
Scott from our third-party accessories team. Scott Weeby is going to talk. He's going to talk about that, and then Rebecca is going to hopefully be around for Minecraft interviews because she's not here. So we've got lots of interviews prepared and ready to go, don't we?
Yes, we do. A lot of Minecraft news this week. Do we want to do news now, or do you want to do interviews? What do you think?
I think we should probably bolt into the interviews. So why don't we do this? We're going to take a break here, go to the interviews. You had the chance to talk to Fiona from The Gunk. The Gunk is now available on Game Pass. You're going to hear a little bit about that, all the interviews we just talked about. So let's get started. Jeff, take it away.
Take yourself back to the summer of 2020. We were getting excited about the imminent launch of Xbox Series X and S, and we were starting to see some of the games that we were going to be playing this generation. And one of the standouts was a very interesting looking title called The Gunk. It was destined to be an Xbox console exclusive, and we saw some interesting visuals, a character hoovering up a bunch of, gunk, but we didn't hear too much from the characters themselves, just a little bit of radio chatter, and it left us wondering, what is this world? What are we going to be doing here besides what appeared to be very pleasing, absorption of dirt and rejuvenating the life cycle and the life and the environment. And so, now that I've been playing the game is out now on Xbox Series X and S and on Windows PC through the magic of Xbox Game Pass. I'm learning a lot more about this character, but who better to really give us the full depth of what we can expect from someone we now know as Ranni than Fiona Nova, the voice of Ranni in The Gunk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. This is like really exciting.
It's really exciting for me too. I followed your career, knowing you from Rooster Teeth. I've been seeing that you joined G4 TV, and when I found out you were the voice of Ranni from The Gunk, very excited because this is a game we've been looking forward to. It's definitely, we circled the calendar quite a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so much has happened since then. I've been feeling like I'm on autopilot at the moment, but like, my gosh, it's been such a dream come true to be voicing this really awesome character in The Gunk, and it's going to be releasing really soon. So I'm shaking. I have so many things I want to say, and I'm just so excited right now.
Well, we're gonna give you that opportunity to say those things. I'm actually just curious, when you saw how did this come together? I think probably a lot of people out there would love to know, like, how do I become a voice actor? And I know you did work with Red versus Blue, and it's not something that just anybody can do. And so, but how did this come together, and how did you end up in this role, and what was it like seeing that character out there for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, so what happened? So I did do Red versus Blue, just like you said. So that was sort of my first venture into voice acting. I was offered a really awesome role in Red versus Blue Zero as Agent One. So it was really awesome to voice her. And then from there, I remember someone tagging me. I think they did like a casting call through Twitter, actually. And someone tagged me in it. And I was like, why not? So I kind of sent some clips to the person casting it wasn't called The Gunk at the time. It was just, sort of like a very brief overview of what you can expect. So I just sent my demo to them, and we did like a bunch of like back and forths of voice tests, and I think it, honestly, I didn't think I was going to get it, but I did want to try to see what would happen. And then I remember it was in February, I was essentially offered the role, February 2021, saying like, hey, I think like you're going to be Ranni. And I really had no idea what to expect, because I just didn't know anything about the game or what it will be or anything. So I was getting these lines sent to me and just cramped in my closet because it was still the COVID. So we had to do all the voice acting and all the voice recording at home. And I was just cramped in my closet, and I was getting these lines, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I get to do this. And I think it was the second to third batch of lines. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big game. Like, I think there was a moment where I'm like, oh no, this is not just a small, like a small indie game. This is so fleshed out. And there was a moment where I was like, oh my gosh. And I started getting nervous. The more batches came in, I was like, oh my gosh, these are like, now I'm up to my 600th line that I'm talking about, like, that I'm saying. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is a lot. And, it was amazing to see. And then I would get screen grabs of what it's going to look like to help me get in the character, like what Ranni is going to look like. And I was just like, oh my, this is amazing. I couldn't put into words how excited I was to see Ranni, to see that character, and to see that I'm voicing her, and also just to tell people, like, you can play as someone I voice as. It's like so crazy to me. But yeah, that's sort of like how I got started doing this. I'm hoping there's more projects to come later on, but this is just the start. This is like the second project I've done. So I'm really nervous, and I really hope people like it.
That's just so awesome to hear, because like, you'd have to imagine, like, from the outside, as someone who is not going to be voicing any games ever, I would think, oh man, how cool would that be? And the fact that you're not in any way jaded. And it's like, no, this is just, it is as cool apparently as it sounds to be the protagonist of a game, and a game that people are really looking forward to.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and it's like one of like, sorry, I just want to say, like, it's like this game is genuinely it has all kinds of different aspects to it, and there's a lot we can touch on, but for me what really hit me the most was just seeing Ranni, because I was like, I like just see that kind of protagonist in this game really made me super happy, and to be voicing it really just, it got me excited. So yeah.
Let's talk about that, because you had seen just an image of Ranni, and obviously were, as you said, like really enthused to be playing her. But what did you, when you saw her and you were reading the lines, like what did you want to bring to the character?
I think with my voice, obviously my voice, I feel like it works really well with kind of quirky, fun, bubbly characters at times, or maybe also just vulnerable characters. And I think Ranni encompasses that completely. I think Ranni is someone who really is adventurous and really wants to help and seek things, and you'll see it throughout the game. You're just like, you play as this really adventurous and courageous girl, and she will constantly want to know, hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? And I feel like I feel like I can relate to that to some degree. I feel like that's exactly who I am, is just a very curious person. And you'll obviously see the dynamic between her and Bex, which Bex is being more of that grounded, logical voice, and Ranni being that dreamer voice, which really gives her a lot of depth. So I feel like I was able to really be able to nail her voice, in the gunk, and I hope other people agree, but I really feel like I was able to get a handle on her voice. So yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. It really is right on that. I'm roughly in like chapter 3 or 4, and it's very much exploring and me going like, I don't know if I want to go there, but Ranni being like, yeah, let's check this out. Let's follow this. Let's just see where this ends up. While I feel like maybe I'm more Bex, so I should maybe analyze my own sort of mental viewpoint. What was it like working with the voice actor for Bex, and learning to play off each other and really carve out those roles?
Yeah, it was a little tough, obviously, being from different, I'm assuming completely different states, and also not being able to be in a studio together. So it was tough, but we were emailing back and forth, sort of chatting about what the dynamic would be. And it really helps, because what I would do is Bex would actually record first, and I would get her lines, and I would then kind of play off of her lines. And as someone who's new to voice acting and someone who's a little more of a noob, that helped tremendously. And Abigail Turner is she is a professional. She knew what she was doing. She probably got those lines out immediately. And I felt like someone who's a little new and a little more green in this area, it was so helpful to have someone that professional and to kind of bounce off of her reactions. And I also feel like in the same way, I kind of gave that more genuine and curious, innocent voice that Bex, and Bex is more of that rational, logical, grounded voice of reason, essentially. So there is definitely some really good relationship dynamics there, and it helped a lot just to understand it and to test it out, and get Ranni's voice down.
I mean, we're reasonable in our normal lives, so it's nice to be sort of prodded on to explore those things that in real life we might be too skittish to do so. So we've been seeing some of the gameplay, and the game is fun, and I think that was what originally like sort of hooked people into seeing the character design, seeing an interesting world, and also just like some gameplay. I know we're in like an era right now where people are enjoying like cleaning in a way. There's like pressure washing simulator, and there's a lawnmower simulator, which just came out on Game Pass. And there's certain elements, like I was a big fan of Super Mario Sunshine, and like I wanted to clean every spot in the town.
Yeah.
And while there is definitely some of that, and it is very satisfying to absorb the gunk, and there is more of a story to it. But let's talk about the gameplay and like sort of what to expect from opening hours of the gunk.
Yeah, so when you start the game, you kind of get a glimpse of where they are at. They are obviously not on a planet that is similar to Earth. It is a very beautiful and majestic planet with really, and I mean, I say beautiful, but like I don't think I have the words to really describe. Like the environment is so fantasy-like, and you really get transported into that like Pandora type, like mysterious planet, and it's really just like you're trying to get a feel for where you're at, and that this is not a normal planet. This is like kind of a futuristic, fantasy like time, and so you also are introduced to Ronnie, who essentially goes through the game controls with you. And I think in the first 20 minutes, or even not even like 10 minutes of the game, you're like, okay, I see what, like, you can really understand the relationship dynamic between Bex and Ronnie immediately. Like you can see what kind of person Ronnie is immediately. You can see who Bex is immediately. It's like it's really good in setting up the story for you, and then eventually you kind of get the hang of it. You get more backstory. You meet Kurt, who is a great robot. That if any time you have a chance to talk to Kurt, please talk to Kurt. It's really fun to talk to him, and it's just like, and then little by little you start discovering more and more, and you go into some real scary environments, some real dark environments, and it's scary. And I think you kind of go through that whole story with Ronnie, and you feel for her, but you also feel for Bex as well, who does really care for Ronnie. So it's just, you kind of go through a whole journey playing this game. And I definitely went through it voicing it, but yeah, it's a beautiful game. And the music, I can't even start with the music. The music is so wonderful.
And I think that's, I've picked up on that, definitely on the music. It really sets the tone for this alien world that's beautiful, but also, has underlying scary or, unfamiliar elements. And I think what's unique about the gunk in my playthrough so far is that a lot of the elements of the gameplay, scanning things and crafting, you see those a lot of times in games that might not have a lot of story, but the story here pushes you forward. It's not just a collectathon, although it is really fun upgrading and unlocking new abilities, and it scratches a lot of those different itches, but then also the characterization that you bring to it. And you kind of just want to see what's next, what's behind that door, which is really cool. Speaking of like new doors and new experiences, I'm trying to set myself up here for a segue. You've this year you joined G4, the reboot of G4. Yes. G4 TV was like a big thing for me growing up, and I've worked with people that worked through the first iteration of G4. I know a lot of great people there now. So what's it been like, and how's these first few months been?
Oh man, again, I have been on autopilot for the past month, 2 months. Gosh, it's it's been with the gunk as well. It's just been to revive this old and to reboot this old channel that really meant a lot to a lot of people. It's been stressful. It's been great. It's been exciting. I have all kinds of feelings for it, but in general, I am having the best time working at G4. I am around such amazing creatives who are just so passionate about G4, and they're so passionate about G4, and they really want this to work, and they have such great ideas, and it's really great to work with like-minded creatives, and to be able to bounce off one another, and everyone's so nice. It was just like, to me, it was like a dream. It's been amazing. We've had our launch week I think it's been about a month ago. We launched November 16th. So, yeah, it has been a really wild ride, and we aren't stopping. Just like the big LED sign in our office, we never stopped playing, and we will not be stopping. And we have just been on autopilot anytime. We have a lot of press tours. We have a lot of shows. Like, we have a lot of shows to write. I mean, I am the main cast for Attack of the Show and Invitation to Party, and both those shows, Attack of the Show is like this circus that it doesn't stop. It's like so much fun. And then Invitation to Party is also so much fun, but is something incredibly new and a bit daunting as a new D&D player. And to do character improv for 2 hours straight in that show is something else, but it is genius. It is like an amazing idea. And I think we're nailing it in both aspects. So it has been a dream come true. And it has been so great to be able to do this. But man, when I tell you I'm on autopilot, I am just going with whatever comes to me. I'm like, let's do it. And I'm on like high like excitement, and I'm just like on adrenaline all the time. So I'm hoping that this, like, for the Christmas holiday, I can kind of take a break and actually like sleep and relax and not drain out completely.
Definitely. You got to pace yourself. I mean, this is going to be a heck of a week for you. You're going to be at a game. This is a game a lot of people are going to play. And again, the Gunk is out now on Xbox Game Pass and Game Pass for PC. So whatever format you want to play it in, make sure you do it. And then best of luck with G4 Fiona. Some really great people there working there. Besides yourself, friends of the show like Danny Pena and Rihanna Manuel, and just like people that we love. So we want to see nothing but success for G4 TV and for you. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me. And I will send my love to Rihanna and Danny because I also love them. So they get double love.
That's awesome. A lot of love here. And we hope you love the Gunk as well. Now available on Xbox Game Pass.
Well, as Jeff and I have been discussing, it's the holiday season, and you're probably thinking, what do you get that Xbox gamer in your life? Maybe that you're trying to get the console. Maybe you already have the console. Do you get a headset? Do you get a controller? Here we go. Scott Weber's back from our third-party accessory team. He's going to talk about some of that stuff that we have available, right, Scott?
Absolutely. There's a lot. There's a lot coming out this holiday season.
It is good to, and is out right now. By the way, it's great to see you. You and I haven't seen each other in quite some time. We chatted. I was checking. We chatted about 6 or 8 months ago about some of the accessories, and you and I have been talking. I'm like, I got to get you back on, and you actually got me a box of stuff. And I know you have some stuff there. So where should we get started? Should we talk about controllers, headsets, cloud gaming? What makes sense?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. Maybe we start with headsets because I'm wearing one of them right now. That seems to be a natural transition.
What are you wearing there? Is it the one I have in my hands? Is it this one?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's the Victrix Gambit wireless headset. We're super excited about this one. This has been really my daily driver here for the past week or so as I've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite, and just a big fan of this one. This is a USB dongle wireless headset. It's got kind of the leatherette ear cushions here that are really, really comfortable. Actually, one of the most comfortable headsets I've worn. Flip to mute, which I always appreciate, especially when it has a little click to it.
Does it have a sound as well, or does it just have the click?
You can hear it through because it gives actual feedback when you flip it up that really click. Like you can hear it in the ear cup, which I really appreciate there too. Yep. And then there's dials on the ear cups here for your volume. The one thing that I've been really appreciative is that obviously, I'm trying a lot of headsets at all times because we get a lot coming through the program. There's only so many USB ports on the actual console itself. Right. So this, when it's in wired mode, has inline controls that are right here that I really appreciate, and just a mute button or a little toggle right there too. So that's really nice. But everything about this headset's great. It comes with lifetime subscription to Dolby Atmos as well.
Right. Now, interesting because it's got the the inline controls. It's got a noise canceling mic, which most of them do right now. And what's the price point on this one?
This one's $129.99.
Okay,
I think it's really good value for what you get. Absolutely.
Now, I know we're going to talk about headsets, but I want to talk a little bit. Victrix also has a controller.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about that since we're all Victrixy right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. This one is very, very cool. So I have it right here. This actually it comes with swappable faceplates, as you can see here. So one of these is kind of your classic one. You can actually see that there's magnets on the back. So these pop on and off very, very easily, which is cool.
Yep.
And then this purple one is more of like a silicone gel type thing. It's really got that soft touch on it and it just peels off. And to swap them back on is really, really easy. You can see it just snaps on right there.
Now it's interesting. I was looking at the packaging I have with this one right here, and it's got this very peculiar D-pad.
Yeah. So you can swap out the D-pads if you like. There's
Kinda like
I can
the
actually
Elites.
Exactly. Yeah, and it actually comes with the carrying case. It's very much like the Elite right here. So if you open that up, there's your cable in there, and then you can also see there are different thumbsticks if you prefer that type of thumbstick, a tall one, or if you like the ones that have the curvature on that, they have those different.
Now this is a wired controller, right, Scott?
Yep, this is a wired controller, and one of the reasons that's cool is they've really focused on improving latency on this one. So they've spent a ton of time into figuring out how to get that input time down and really optimize it for tournament play. So this controller is really, really cool. It's perfect for FPS shooters. Trigger locks, it has 5 different settings on the trigger locks. So right now I've got them on the thinnest one, and it is just like
And I noticed if you look under there, you haven't mentioned yet, but there's also paddles.
Yeah, definitely. There's 4 paddles on the back. Those are, of course, remappable, perfect for Halo Infinite, of course, as I've been playing quite a bit. And the thing you'll notice if you open this up, it's extremely light. That's one thing that they really focused on. Some of the feedback from the community is that, just have something that's light really feels great and kind of reduces the fatigue in those long gaming sessions. So yeah, this is a very, very cool, unique controller, and just at $99.99 as well.
All right, there you go. So it's kind of it's got some great features in there. If you're looking for a wire controller, Victrix is a brand that I actually haven't heard a lot of until you started talking about it. So thank you for introducing it.
Yeah, they came out, and I think they had their first product with us maybe 2 or 3 years ago as a Pro AF headset, and it was just a full-fledged headset with lighting on it, and it came with a little puck that you could use to control your EQ settings and everything. And they did a fight stick that was really well received by a community, and so now kind of getting into some of the stuff that's more in the mid-range price, but still keeps that high tournament grade quality that they've been known for.
Speaking of, so we're talking about, we started with the headset, we talk about controllers. This is a really interesting controller. Bring it up the Duke.
Yes.
So this is, look at that one. This is the
amazing
Cortana Duke from our friends at Hyperkin. For those of you that were with us 20 years ago when you had the Duke, now we shipped. There was a Duke that finally shipped. Was it last year when the original?
Gosh, I think we're more. I think we're 2+ years away from the first Duke. We had a black one, and then there's limited edition green one, and there's been several colors of them. Was just noticing that our old friend Ricari Austin on Twitter was showing off his collection of Hyperkin Dukes.
Yeah, so this one's what's the price point on this one?
This one's $89.99, so it's a collector's edition, and I'll show you what's super cool about this one.
Yeah.
As with all the Duke controllers, when you press the Xbox button on it, it has a little animation. But this one, I'll show you right here, shows the Cortana.
There's a little screen in there.
Intro. Yeah, you can see that. There's some reflection right there, but 20 years of Xbox right there every time you press it, which is just so cool. And then the original boot logo. It's just one of those really special things that makes this controller such a cool collector's edition. And I have played Halo Infinite with it, and it is crazy to go back 20 years and think about myself playing with that original Duke, and it really brings back that feeling. But of course, we've modernized it now, and it's got RB and LB on it, and we've remapped the white and the black buttons to bumpers as well.
And even, the only extra button it has is really the share button, right?
Yes, modernized for the share button, of course, and have kept everything going on that. So it's such a great controller. Really, really love it. USB-C connection, also really easy to pop out and wind back in. So huge fan of the Duke. It's been such a community success for us. We love it.
All right, let's take a look at, now I've got the OtterBox Power Swap controller batteries. Tell us what this is. I looked at this product and I was like, wait a minute, what is this? So.
Exactly. This is a really cool innovation in the charging category. So I've got my controller right here that I've been playing with all the time. If you can see on the back right here, there is the battery pack right here. And I can actually press on this right now and it'll show me batteries at half capacity. So what this does is it comes with a dock, and there are 2 packs in it. So you're always charging one pack and you're always playing with one pack. You never have to stop gaming. The cool thing about this is that this battery pack sits inside a case that has a capacitor in it. So what actually happens is when you get a low battery notification, you can pop out that battery right here. It pops out, and you can see my controller is still powered.
So
it has no battery in it.
So essentially you're hot swapping in mid game or mid match, and there's a little bit of juice in there to keep the controller going, so you don't miss a beat. You slap the other one in, and off you go. Right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. So when you're ready to go, you just snap that right back in, and you can have the new one. You're still powered. You never lose power. So this will hold for about 10, 15 minutes, enough to finish a match, whatever you're playing, 4v4 Slayer in the new playlist in Halo Infinite. That's what I did last night. Just popped it right back in. And it's so cool because, a lot of the charging products that we have, you got to set it on the dock, and it's plenty of battery life. But if you forget to do it or something, you're scrambling for AA's, you're looking for your battery door, all that stuff. This is just never stop gaming. So this is a mainstay. It's perfect for a desktop setup. I've got a 27-inch monitor that I play Xbox on in here, and it sits right on the desk, and I use it every day. It's just so cool to have something totally new in this category.
Power swap controller batteries from our friends at OtterBox.
Absolutely. Yeah. And these are $59.99.
$59.99. All right. Moving along here. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about cloud gaming, because I've got a couple devices here. In fact, a couple weeks ago, I had Manit on to talk about the Backbone, which is an amazing product if you're an iOS user. You got an iPhone, this is the one you want. But this is a new one that you sent over, the Rig. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so Rig MGX right here, as you can see, the expansion on this thing is quite large, right? So this, I've actually seen people using tablets on this. This is perfect for Android. It's a Bluetooth connection, so it's not hardwired in. So it really has the capability to fit a lot of phone cases, all that kind of stuff that can be sometimes challenging with the ones that have to be wired connections. So you can see it's got analog triggers up here, just like we would expect. I'll turn that around. Everything you would expect from a normal controller. The ergonomics are nice on this. There's also a pro version of this that's coming. So if you're more used to having the classic kind of handles down on your mobile controller and you want something more full-fledged, that's coming very soon. But this is out as a great option for Android. We've been hearing wonderful things about this, and I like using it quite a bit. It's just easy to snap in and remember your last Bluetooth device.
So we've got a couple of devices here for cloud gaming. What is, by the way, I want to talk to you about it because some folks may not know. Everything we're showing here is the Design for Xbox program, which is what your team works on. You see the green logo there. Tell me what that means. For cloud gaming. Does it mean you test it? Does it work? Or what does that mean?
Yeah. So in general, Design for Xbox means that everything that comes through us and carries that badge is something that we've validated, right? We've made sure that it's a great experience out of the box. And so any cloud gaming controller in particular that comes through with that, we're always sending samples of those as they come through to the engineering team over on streaming to make sure that all of the buttons are mapped correctly within the client service, so that everything is always working long term. You're never going to have buttons get mismatched or anything like that. And it's really nice to get their feedback as well and provide to the partners to make sure that we're doing things right from an input latency standpoint. From a comfort standpoint, we're also consulting with industrial design teams here to make sure that buttons are placed in the right way. These are unique products, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy for us to establish industrial design requirements for a classic controller because we've got a blueprint for that. We have our first party controller. It's been around for a long time, but in this, this is something totally unique. So where do you put an Xbox button on a product like this? Like there's not like that natural place where you can just stick it right here.
Center,
Right. So let's put it in a place where it's out of the way, but still convenient to press. And so, all of the products that are licensed for Android do have an Xbox button on them too, which is great because then you get that experience that popping back to that dashboard-like experience while you're playing within the app. That's just a fantastic. It really makes it feel like you're playing console in your hand. It's a true mobile experience without degrading anything.
If you have an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription, or someone in your life who has one, your daughter, your son, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, whoever it is, and they want to get it, they want to take their gaming with them, then we've got a story for you. Not only, the xCloud, of course, you can play it as is, but it'll just become better with something like the Backbone or the Rig Portable Precision MGX. So those are two great devices for cloud gaming. Now,
they're fantastic.
I got a couple more devices here. You guys really sent over some cool stuff.
So many, quite a good bag we dropped off for you.
Yeah, it's crazy. One of the areas that we're always doing is what games we're going to play. Do we download the games? Now we have game streaming. So you can essentially instantly check out a game. But if you want to store them all, we've got a couple of devices here, the game drives, which is we've had these products out for quite some time, haven't we, Scott?
Yeah. So actually, Seagate has done so many different co-branded what we call game drives. They've done Gears of War. They've done Sea of Thieves. They're always huge, huge successes. They were able to match these to really what we're doing on the first party side with the Halo Infinite Elite controller. And so borrowing elements from that, I've got one right here too, and just using that. It's fantastic. I've actually got the 5 terabyte hooked up to my console right now for all the overflow that it can't fit because Game Pass, there's so many titles and I never wanted to delete anything.
It matches perfectly, doesn't it?
There you go. Yep. Got the 117 elements on both of those, so very cool.
Because a lot of people may be confused or not understand it, but these are great for like a cold storage and long-term storage because we also work with Seagate. We have the expansion port in the back of your Xbox Series X and S, and we make you right. You didn't send one of those, I noticed.
Yep. We haven't gotten them. We'll get you one.
But we have a partnership. Can you hold that up again, Scott? Because a lot of people may not know. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this line as well, because there's a few different storage options available now.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you nailed it. Like HDDs and your existing drives, take your games with you when you come over to this generation of gaming. That's absolutely true. You can store as much as you want there. There are certain titles that are in this generation that are optimized for X and S that you'll have to play off the internal drive, or you'll have to use an expansion card to play them off of. So you can expand your storage now with the 2 terabyte, up to 2 terabytes from Seagate to get, if you have an X, you can go up to 3 terabytes all the way. But with the Game Pass library being as big as it is, it's still nice to have storage where you can play your Xbox One games off of, or your Xbox 360, original Xbox. All your back compat games will still play off that, games that are not optimized for this generation. Otherwise, you can just move things back and forth. And the storage transfer is so easy. And the team has really done, the platform team's really done such a great job with being able to move games in batch now, to go in and select as many as you want, move them all over to your external, move them back over. And I use the network transfer as well, which is just great too, to move games back and forth since I have multiple Xboxes across the house. But this is such a game changer. And really, we're thrilled. This also now comes in 512 gigabytes capacity, as well as the 1 terabyte, which came out last year, and then the 2 terabyte here as well.
So it's great because and it's not like we want you to there's reasons why we have that other storage, and I think we've proved that out over time, which is things like the quick resume and the fast loading and some of these next generation features that just aren't possible. The read-write speeds on these things, while good, are nothing compared to what the next generation demands. So these are really great options if you want to get something to match your console that you can kind of move those back compat games out to. And you can even download the next gen games here, but you can't play them. You can move them back in. So it's easier to do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I have a lot of games that I store on there that are multiplayer games that maybe I want to go back and play if my friends are in the mood. Like, I don't play much Rocket League anymore. I don't play as much Overwatch as I used to. Right. IDARB, games like that I used to play that are fun to hop on with your friends. And I could go, instead of having to re-download that, I've already got this stored on my storage right here. Let me just pop it over. It's just going to take a minute or two, and then we'll be ready to go.
Right. That's the reason for that. But it's great. And I know that these are just a sampling and some of the products that your team works on, but you have a lot of different controllers. In fact, I have one here. This one actually, I don't know if you know this, Scott, but I opened up the Razer store in Seattle earlier last week, and they sent me over this one, which is the Mandalorian.
Yes.
This is an amazing controller, which has this cool charging dock as well.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. So Razer and Controller Gear, now partnership, now one company, have done such an amazing job with customizing our first party controller. So really, it's a first party controller that they have taken and customized and decorated and done hand painting on. It's so cool. Comes with that charging dock, and really just a limited edition collector's item thing that is so cool as a showcase piece or to use. I personally just keep them up on my mantle because they're so cool. I don't want to touch them. I don't want to get like my greasy hands on them, but they're very awesome. And they've done a lot with the Star Wars franchise, and they have more beyond that as well.
Well, it's funny because when I was there, they gave me a bag with that controller and then this that said "Top Secret, Do Not Open." So I was like, okay, and I haven't opened it until now. And here is
That's so funny.
Here is the Boba Fett controller. Have you seen this?
I have, yeah.
Look at that.
It's so funny. You know, we just get used to here, like just not saying anything publicly about anything because we work on so many products that sometimes we just kind of forget when the embargo dates are. And so we go, okay, well, we just won't talk about it until we see someone else post it online or we see a press release.
Right. So this is the first time I've actually seen this, and I'm sure a lot of folks as well. So this is an amazing. And again, this is part of the program that your team works on, which is, working with our partners and getting these validated to make sure that you have a great experience when you plug a console in or a headset or a storage device or anything along those lines. So.
Absolutely.
A lot of work that your team does. So I want to thank you for all that. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Oh gosh, there's so many things that we have going on too. You know, from an audio perspective, we still have the great Bang & Olufsen headset, the limited edition headset that we announced. I know you have one of those.
Keeps getting updated, by the way. You keep getting firmware updates for them.
Yep, many updates and improvements. Really made a big improvement to mic quality recently that I've really noticed that it's just fantastic. So love using that one. We've got some flight sticks that are coming and that are out, which is great if you're interested in that. So Turtle Beach has a Velocity 1 flight stick that's really geared towards civil aviation. So think like Cessnas and things like that. That's been a hot ticket item
on the yoke.
Right. You're not shooting anything down in flight sim with that thing, but that's been a smash hit and is hard to find. There's more coming in stock soon. And then we're also working with Thrustmaster on a Boeing edition, the TCA yoke pack that's coming. It's really focused more towards commercial aviation, so like a 777, 787 type plane, the big ones, right? And that's coming very soon as well. So we're thrilled about that. And then beyond that, we've got our Philips Momentum monitors that are coming very soon.
Yeah, I have the 55-inch here, and I'm trying to find a place to put that on my desk with the AmbiGlow. I tweeted that out when you sent it over. I'll tell you, it is amazing. The high frame rate. It's got all the Xbox presets, so you just plug your console in, go to Xbox, and everything just looks beautiful, doesn't it?
It's so great. I've got the 27-inch here that I'm using, and there's a 32-inch too, and all of those are going to be available very, very shortly. It's just so great what we've been able to do in this program, just taking monitors out of the box and having Xbox mode where you just have everything already lit up, HDR, VRR, 120 frames per second, just ready to go. You don't want to fiddle with the settings and figure out like, how do I turn off motion blur and like, what is game mode? And some TV manufacturers call things different. It's just, you got to go to forums and look everything up. And it's just like, no, out of the box.
And once you go to ABS forums, it's all over, right? You go right down that rabbit hole.
Exactly. I've been there too. Just with the TV, I got to go to RT or rtins.com or whatever and look up all the different.
This is just everything. Yeah, you just plug and play. Works very.
It's great. If you've got a Series X and you want to take advantage of all the features it has, plug this in. Xbox mode, you're going to go to the settings and in the visual settings in the Xbox, and you're going to see a whole lot of green check marks in there.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. Anyway, Scott, appreciate it. It's always great to have you on the show. Good to see you. Thanks for giving us a walkthrough of the portfolio. And there's a lot more. Where do people go to find out the full list? You've got the Xbox.com address, right?
Yeah, there's a Design for Xbox site on Xbox.com. We also have Xbox.com accessories. You can see a variety of the things that we ship. And if you're out at retailers or you're shopping anywhere online, just make sure that you look for that Design for Xbox circle badge right there in the corner. That just ensures that it's officially licensed. We've had an opportunity to look at it, work with the partners. We're at over 40 partnerships right here, and they just do amazing work. And we're so thrilled to be able to have all these incredible categories that we operate in with, more surprises to come next year.
All right. Sky, thanks so much. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you in Halo.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
Joining us this week, we have Laura DeLawrence from the Minecraft Dungeons team. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
All right, so I know that you're the lead designer on the Minecraft Dungeons team. We've been working together for a couple years now. Can you just tell us a little bit about your role and what it entails?
Right. It's always a bit difficult to explain, I feel. I usually compare it to what a movie director does for a movie. Is the person that tries to hold the vision and tries to make sure that we're all creatively aligned. The only difference is that we are more than one person doing that. So there's Mons, who is our game director, who oversees everything. I basically try to keep the design in line and make sure that the game is awesome and fun to play, and that the gameplay is enjoyable, and yeah, stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, and so this week is pretty exciting. Released the first seasonal adventure, Cloudy Climb. This has actually been a really busy year for the Dungeons team, though. I think there's been 3 other DLCs that have released, right?
Yes, we've done so many things this year. I love this trailer so much, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, how has it been like having so many releases? Like, have you gotten to take a break? Like, how has it been on the team?
No, we're really looking forward to the vacation upcoming now. It's been a very hectic year. I feel like we've been running so fast all the time. So hopefully now we can start like slowing down a little bit. Yeah, the team has been working so hard, but I think it has paid off. Like, yeah, players love Dungeons, and we're very happy about it.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Cloudy Climb and this kind of move into the seasonal model?
Right. Yeah. We, after the story of the Orbit of Dominance was over, we sat down with our partners at Double 11 and started discussing what could be a good way to make sure that the game keeps on going. That is a bit easier to maintain with a slightly smaller team that we are now. So yeah, then seasons felt very natural. We also didn't want a very predatory way of approaching it. So that's why we decided to make seasons that are infinite. So everyone can jump on the awesome pets and capes and everything whenever they want. And then we were like, yeah, but we also want to keep on building features. So we built a tower, which has been a very difficult and challenging feature, but I think it turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I think it has a lot of promising things coming also. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think the tower is pretty cool. It's the first, I feel like competitive isn't the right word because it's not PvP, but it has like the first competitive element where people can kind of accept like a big challenge, right? And getting to like the furthest level that they can. Can I ask, what's the furthest level you've gone in the tower?
I today managed to do the whole thing, which made me very proud. Yes. So I'm very happy. It's the first time I actually do the whole thing in without any cheats or any developer tricks. I knew it was possible. Our QA team gives us so much feedback. So we try our best to stay in touch with how players realistically will experience it. But yeah, I'm very happy where the tower is right now and where it is heading. There's a lot of things we want to improve and add to it. So I think it's going to be better as we go for 2022.
I guess it makes sense that you would be pretty good at the tower, having worked on the Dungeons team, but I'm going to give it a shot this weekend. I'll let you know how it goes.
I spent 3 weeks in a row, playing it 5 hours a day. So I've become,
pro.
pretty used to the strategy, I think.
Yeah. And I saw in the trailer, there's a bunch of other new features that are being added, like emotes and pets. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Right. Yeah, we really wanted to add something to the game that was not necessarily going to affect the gameplay too much. We already have a lot of weapons and gear and armor, so we wanted something that felt more individual and that you could show your friends the things you got. So yeah, we were like, why not? And added all the pets and all the ways of expressing yourself. So I think that's pretty cool, and I really like how they turn out. Yeah, they're pretty awesome, simple, but at least but also they convey so much of the Minecraft fun, and I really like them.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice to have a way to actually communicate with other people as you're playing with them through. So that's very cool. So about the tower, just really quick, you said that things will be added to it. So is the tower going to be updated over time?
That's the plan. We'll see how much or how little we can update it, but the idea is that the tower will be a very changing feature as we go. Like we already have the capacity to change things very much from tower to tower, since it changes every few weeks. So yeah, I think we still have quite a few things in store, and we'll see where it goes.
Awesome. Well, I know the next seasonal adventure is still quite a ways away. The team deserves some time off for the holidays. But I guess where can people go if they want to stay tuned to the latest Minecraft Dungeons news or hear when the next seasonal adventure comes out?
Right. They can either go to Minecraft.net, where all our seasons, our articles, and all the information is posted, or also you can find us on Twitter. Either type Minecraft Dungeons or @DungeonsGame, and yeah, you'll be able to see every update that we post and every cute video that we make.
Awesome. Well, reminder again, Minecraft Dungeons Cloudy Climb is out now. Tons of free content for people to try out on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC, Steam. So go check it out. And thank you for joining us, Laura. Yeah, honestly.
Thank you so much.
If you tuned into the Game Awards last week, you saw probably the single most amazing performance I've ever seen at the Game Awards. And joining me to talk about that today is Chad and Maya Moldenauer from Studio MDHR. We're going to talk about Cuphead, the delicious last course. How you guys doing?
Amazing.
Good. Really really good after last week's announcement, for sure.
I know you guys have announced, the announcement was, of course, that the downloadable content is coming next year in 2022, because you've kind of teased it for quite some time. It's been drifting out there on the internet, hasn't it?
Yeah, It has. And I mean, we've been talking about this internally for a long time, and it's this funny thing where maybe we shouldn't have picked a release date when we hadn't really started working on the game. Maybe
it's like classic green indie scenario where we announced it a little prematurely. And so technically we haven't been in production with it at that point that it launches 4 long years. But what can you do? You live, you learn. It's been a really, really great production cycle since when we actually did get started. And it's so nice to just finally have a date out there. And let people know when it's coming and work towards that.
The upside to all of this is people can learn from our mistakes.
Yes.
Don't announce a game too early.
Well, I think a lot of folks know that because people get really excited. But last week was really exciting because we had this moment. I was sitting, actually, this is actually my view. I was sitting right there in the Game Awards, and we saw this amazing, when the curtain went up and I saw what was going to go on. I mean, I'm a big fan of swing music and whatnot. And when we saw this, it was pretty amazing. These 3 lovely women, they kind of reintroduced it to us via song. So tell us what it was like to work on this segment. Maya, you told me before we started recording, you actually flew into LA. So did you have any creative control over this, or tell me about your involvement with this announcement?
Yeah.
Tell me
about the idea.
The Game Awards was so great with giving us creative freedom on kind of doing whatever we wanted with this piece. And instead of kind of being in a swamp, or like not really a swamp, a beautiful ocean of trailers, we were like, we really need to stand out and do something special. And we thought, the fans have waited so long for DLC, and we just wanted to give a gift back of this is actually the title track to DLC altogether. And we're like, you know what, let's keep this confidential. Nobody will know about it. It was pretty hard to keep under wraps in terms of coordinating, getting all of the right musicians in place.
Sure.
And obviously the vocalists, but nobody knew about it. It was a great surprise, and it turned out awesome. Like, it was right down to like which rings they were going to wear and being as authentic to the era as possible, which is kind of like the thing that we do here. Right. But it was such a moment, so cool to see, especially in that venue that we've watched year over year, and to play such a big role in it this year was.
And it's funny to think of how it turned out from your initial spark of what if we do something cool.
It was such a pie in the sky idea. I was like, could we have an orchestral piece? Like, what does that mean? How could we pull that together? And everyone, at first were like, oh, that's never going to happen. And then
there it is.
Cut to the Game Awards, and there it is.
Now, we had that, of course, that lovely live segment kind of introduced the trailer, and the trailer itself, which is something I'm going to play it here. We can talk about it. Tell us, for those folks that are maybe seeing, I know that I was sitting with some folks who, really hadn't seen Cuphead or like, oh, I forgot about Cuphead. Here we have this great intro trailer, which by the way was cute as hell. It was just too much. But we talk about this. Is this a new section? Is this new DLC? Do I have to complete the original game? Because in all fairness, and I have to be honest, I haven't finished the game. Okay, it's so damn hard that I haven't. Yes, I know. I'm embarrassed, especially
we
after
we have somewhere to go. Now,
yeah, well,
especially after, and because we, Maya, you, Chad, you and I, we haven't talked in a few years. A couple of years ago, you sent me this lovely gift.
Oh, you still have it,
and I still have it. It hangs in my studio here, and I saw that, and I kind of looked at it. I was so embarrassed that I was like, I have to tell them, because I love as a student of animation like you all are. I love this era, so I need to know. Do I need to finish the game to play the DLC?
So first of all, you should have checked the note on the back of that art piece. It said, "You cannot keep this unless you beat the game."
Oh, it's due. It's due back. Apparently, it was due back 2 years ago. It's overdue.
But no, the DLC it acts a little bit like a traditional DLC, where it's a brand new island's worth of content. We have a bunch of cool stuff that we're not going to talk about or show, just so the fans,
for the surprise element.
Yeah, exactly. Want to keep some stuff surprise, but you don't have to beat the entire Cuphead game to play the DLC. Of course, we haven't really revealed how they are linked yet. We know what it is, but again, we want to keep some stuff a little bit under wraps. But you should just know that you don't have to go crazy and beat every single thing to access DLC. It's going to be really accessible from the original game.
That's great to hear. I mean, because I love the world you've created. By the way, since we announced it, was it 2013 that we announced it, like 7 or 8 years ago? Is that when it was?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it just feels like it was a lifetime ago, and it was so exciting to see you launch on Xbox One, and then you launched on PlayStation, and then you launched on Switch, and then you launched on. I'm doing this all out of order, but you're pretty much on all the platforms right now, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting. Just knowing that we have that many more fans that can, share the love for games that we have.
And this content will go to all of those platforms simultaneously, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that's a big. What have you learned over the years in terms of what? There's a lot, I know, but I'm just saying
That's
in terms
a loaded question.
But what you've learned from the original game to gameplay that maybe people really gravitated towards, or that maybe they weren't so thrilled with, that you brought into the downloadable content that we may see.
Well, so one part that we learned a lot about, and this is just more for the arcade fast Twitch purist, is there was a lot of ways we could perfect how the animation and gameplay sync with each other. And even though we love how the first game turned out, there's, we're the people making it, so we're picky about it.
Yeah.
And we really dove deep into ensuring everything was like fine-tuned to ensure it's gameplay perfect. But other than that, I think we knew some of the things that, not that we didn't like them, but we would pick the best of what Cuphead has and expand from that.
Right.
And truly make, the best Cuphead experience as this last, like the send away of the original Cuphead game.
Yeah, I'd say from the animation side at least as well, it's some of our richest, most detailed work. We haven't actually done a full tally yet of frame count, but it is it's so detailed, and the mileage in terms of pencil work and ink lines and things like that stack up. Even though it's just one island, it stacks up to the core game on a whole as being very, very close. So it kind of puts into context in terms of like the amount of work that went into this compared to the main game. And just, as Chad alluded to earlier, in that we set out on making Cuphead a game that we would love to play, that we've dreamed of kind of existing throughout our whole entire lives. And so we kind of held true to that and saying, okay, what things were left on the cutting room floor for the original game, let's incorporate those ideas. And took this opportunity to do that rather than be like, okay, let's focus group this. And now what did people like and what didn't they like? We really just held true to making this an entire game of like a passion project for ourselves.
And I'll add to that internally, this is kind of our Fantasia, like the first Fantasia.
Right.
we're pushing art for art's sake.
Yeah.
You know, the programming team is pushing how the art meshes with the gameplay just to make it perfect. And the craziness that went into the music this time around compared to the first game, it's just, we've amped everything up to that insane, maybe you shouldn't do this for DLC, but we did it. So
but you did it.
I know it's borderline, like, should it have been a standalone? Should it be a DLC? But
here we are.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be great either way.
And I think the most important thing is when I show it to people, I have some neighbors that are, you know, their kids got Xboxes for Christmas or birthdays or what have you. And they ask me what games, and I recommend Cuphead. And they're like, what is that? And they go look at it. And invariably, the next day or a few hours later, they're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And I want to point out that in the original game, and I assume forward with the DLC, is that, you know, you're not using a lot of computer generated stuff. You're doing some look, you're doing this, right? You're hand drawing cells.
Every single frame. Not even one effect. It was done digitally, and
there's even stuff that nobody has seen yet that we can't wait to show, or at least people start playing the game and see it.
Right.
The first game we did, we kind of mirrored what Fleischer Studios did, where they built maquettes and you know, physical 3D sets in their cartoons, and we had a few of those in the first Cuphead. But for this, we said, why don't we just go all out crazy for one of the set pieces? And we're not going to reveal it, but it's just, again, it's that next level up of really pouring everything you can into it.
It's so interesting because cartoons, animation, they so lend themselves to the digital era, and we can turn on the Cartoon Network or whatever, and it's filled with, frankly, not very high quality animation. Right. But when I look at your stuff, it is the, and you've talked about this, it's the golden era of animation. Yeah. It's the stuff, you know, the Bugs Bunny, the Max Fleischer, it's the Woody Woodpecker. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It is really completely something different that some people in this generation have never seen. So that's why they're so blown away. So I want to thank you on behalf of a student and a fan of animation for reintroducing it, or introducing, in some cases, for the very first time to an audience. I can't wait. I mean, since you and I chatted the first time, I think you know this, Maya, because we've talked about this. I have a young daughter. I can't. This will be the first game I sit down and play with her, because I want to introduce her to the animation, because that's how pure it is and that's how important it is. So I want to, on behalf of, you know, everybody, including my daughter, she want to thank you for that. So.
Oh, I love that. No, yeah, awesome. It definitely blows our minds to hear, and it's exactly like what you just said in terms of, like, there are a generation of people that didn't even know this existed. One of the number one questions we get when we do a couple of, like, school chats with local schools, and they're like technology and communications courses, and the number one question we always get is, but couldn't you do it digitally? Like, why would you spend that much more time doing things by hand on paper? Like, we have these tools and these techniques that have evolved, and what, like, just why? And there is really innocent confusion around it. And then when we show comparison, like split screens, and we can really highlight and point out where that magic is in terms of, like, the line work and just things that you can't capture digitally. They see it, and it's like a light turns on, and they're just like, oh my God, this looks so different when you put it that way. And so I just, every one person at a time, every one person that's like, oh, I see it now, I'm like, we've done our job.
Right.
And I think we're lucky that we're in this position to be, to just forge ahead and brute force through the games as we have been doing. Because to most sane people, you would start attempting this and you go, wait a second, the budget and timeline just keeps, it's an infinite timeline. So
it doesn't scale.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I don't know, we love it. And as we said before, our studio is going to push 2D and hand-drawn animation and handmade painted backgrounds and, you know, handcrafted music for as long as we possibly can.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. The backgrounds that people are going to see in this DLC are just, like, everything kind of feels next level, but the backgrounds are so beautiful and stunning. I can't wait to, you know, release those or release an addendum to the art book, and it's just really beautiful work.
Yeah, I mean, it's hats off, and I know that we're seeing a little bit of hybrid of you know, live action, as it were, here with the marionettes and the gameplay, which is such a lovely.
We want to have fun with it.
Yeah, and well, please, this is nothing but fun. I mean, this whole thing is just ridiculous. By the way, do you have those little marionettes? Do you guys have them in your offices?
Yeah,
I sure hope so, because they're beautiful.
Eventually we will. Yeah, this trailer was the puppetry trailer was done by Screen Novelties out in Los Angeles, and they knocked it out of the park. They took it, like our vision and just took it to the next level. We're really, really happy, and that was the number one thing I said to them when we saw them being made. We're like, we get to keep these puppets, right?
Yeah, and they just like
us
will
haunt our dreams forever.
They just like us love the craft so much that a lot of this was shot on film too. Just because, right? You captured just a little bit more of that grain and warmth. So
it's you guys are, the analog studio of this generation in some regards, which is great, because this is an art that needs to be preserved and understood and explored. And you guys are not only using the right types of technology, you're expanding it in just the right areas, because there's things that you're doing that weren't possible back then. So I just I love you guys. I love you guys, and I love you too. And I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't finished the game. So
that you should be.
Okay, so you're going to. Here's my proposition to you. I will handcraft you another cell with the new title screen, including Miss Chalice, if you beat the game.
Okay.
Well, there's also the choice that he waits till DLC comes out and plays the original game as Miss Chalice, because she has new abilities that we haven't quite shared everything with.
Way to bring it back there, Chad.
Need you on your quest.
Well, so we're excited because the DLC is going to be, the Delicious Last Course is going to be out June 30th, 2022. Yes. Hopefully.
Yeah, it will.
Hey, our track record is once we announce a date, it never slips. It's only if we announce that
a year. When you hear a year,
you're a general vague statement.
That's
yeah, but I mean, if there's anything that the last couple of years have taught us, it's number one, never say never, and number two, it's just that anything could happen, and it's been difficult on everyone in every industry for sure. And we were not, removed from that, and just having to navigate through the pandemic and while trying to make this game. And we applaud everyone in our studio for kind of keeping things together, and they just did a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure. I have to. Everybody in the company has just been amazing.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get you guys back on next year when we get closer to the launch, so we can talk a little bit more about it. And I'm looking forward to that. So thank you guys. Really appreciate the Delicious Last Course for Cuphead coming in 2022. Chad and Maya, always great to see you. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much to all of our guests. Really ended the show strongly here. And it's just so great to see Maya and Chad. They're great people. And the Delicious Last Course. We're hungry. We've waited. And we won't have to wait too much longer.
They're such good people. I mean, I've known them for a long time, and I just love chatting with both of them. And the whole studio is just so talented. So, I mean, you heard me in the interview thanking them profusely for everything they've done, bringing classic animation to a new generation, and they've really done an amazing job. So thank you for that. Thanks to all of our guests we had this week. You heard all about these great new products, like if you're cloud gaming, we got you covered for Android and iOS. We got all sorts of fun stuff there. And this, by the way, I know you had to step away, so you didn't see this, but this was one really the Boba Fett controller. This is what do you remember when you and I went to the Razer store and they slipped this in my bag and said, "Don't open it"? This is what was in there.
I didn't see what it was. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. What is it? The Legend of Boba Fett, the story of Boba Fett. That's coming soon.
Coming soon.
Disney Plus. So
coming soon.
That will be good. And The Witcher. The Witcher's this weekend. Oh man,
you've got it down. Well, you got a lot of stuff to watch.
A lot of stuff to watch. I do have a lot of stuff. Although I'm a little worried to download that on Netflix on the plane and watch it, because it's The Witcher. You don't know what you're going to be seeing there. And,
well, it's not so much what you're going to be seeing; it's what your seatmates and the people behind you are going to be seeing.
Yeah,
exactly. It's always tilt that screen quietly to the left.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, my kid's over here. Maybe I've talked myself out of it. I will not be me doing that. I will be watching our documentary. So. I was thinking we're coming to the end of the year.
It is.
And we were talking about Halo and how much, we've played. You can look as we talked about, and just see how much you've played each game. And what was did you have a dominant game this year? Did you anything that you played like the most?
Well, I think, you talked about it before the interviews that Halo's coming up quickly for you. It just isn't, in terms of most played. I think right now, believe it or not, it was Sea of Thieves, because I achieved Pirate Legend this year, which is a big deal, level 50. And according to this, I played like 9.5 days of Sea of Thieves so far. So that, of course, the Pirate's Life, the collab we did with Disney and Pirates of the Caribbean, that was amazing. So right now it's Sea of Thieves, because I think the reason, one of the many reasons why is, it's a fun game, of course, but that game you don't jump in for 5 minutes. You can't do a quick match. It's right. You got to kind of get your snacks ready, unbuckle the belt, and kind of stay in it for a while. So that was definitely my my most played one as I look back here. Of course, Apex Legends is still up there. That one is probably second, followed by Far Cry 6. Still going.
Yeah, you beat that, so you put a whole lot of time into that.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2, which I went through that one, which was a lot of fun. The Artful Escape, finished that one as well. But I mean the list just. I mean, I'm scrolling down here. I cannot believe all the games we played. The Tourist, which was a lot of fun. What about you?
A lot of less trips and a lot more playing. Well, I went. There were 3 games that I hit 100 hours on this year. I didn't start, which is a lot for me. A couple of them I started last year and finished this year. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I was 108 hours, and Yakuza Like a Dragon, I think I finished at like 101 hours, but I started those last year. But out of this year, there was one game I started and finished that was 98 hours, which is Dragon Quest 11. The Ultimate Edition or whatever version's on Game Pass, as such a great game. And I convinced my brother to play it, and he's very close for like the real ending and everything. Such a great game. This was a good year for RPGs for me. And I also played like 4 RGG games, the people that make Yakuza. Like I think I played Yakuza 3, 4, Judgment, and I'm 25 hours into Lost Judgment. If you add those up, those are about 100 hours as well. So at first I was like playing so much Halo. You have a recency bias. And I was like, I've played the most Halo this year. And I'm at 70 hours right now.
Right.
And maybe by the end of the year, I very likely to have surpassed 100 just because I just love it so much. But
right.
A lot of game playing this year. It's been a
Doom.
great game.
I forgot Doom, that I finished Doom this year.
You played so much Doom.
I was playing that. It took me forever to finish because I was playing on the hardest level. So that was. I don't even. Yeah, it's embarrassing how long I played that days. So
when they measure it in days, once you cross over, and it's like, how many days, and then you have to do the math. But
and then if there's double-digit days,
there's a lot to play.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I've got a backlog. When I go over to my pins. And I take a look and what I do, I don't know how you all use pins, but the way I do it is I pin the things either, here's the things I'm playing the most. And you see Halo, Octopath Traveler. I'm like 50 hours into Lost Judgment and the gunk, but then here's Forts I need to play more. It Takes Two still haven't finished. And then
we haven't finished.
We haven't finished. And then like Tales of Arise, haven't even started that. That's probably a huge game. This RPG from Riot that looked really cool. I have quite the backlog, and then once we hit really start getting into like February, and Elden Ring comes out. There's a lot of games coming out early on this year, more than last year. That's going to be clock is ticking, man. I gotta get on it.
Well, that's why you don't need to take anything on your trip except your console or your mobile device to play cloud games. You got a lot to catch up on, pal.
I do. I'm going to bring my Switch. And I realized because Minecraft Dungeons has updated yet again with this seasonal adventure called Cloudy Climb. It's free.
Yep.
And so I think while I'm watching the documentary, I'm going to be doing the dual screen thing, playing Minecraft Dungeons on my Switch and playing through some of the drops they've had throughout the year. It's been an incredibly well-supported title.
Oh, it has.
And I don't want to – I'm always a little – in over my head talking Minecraft with Rebecca. It's sort of like you don't want to, if you lived with a chef, you're not going to want to like cook to try to impress them.
Yeah,
you're
we
just
can't.
Not going to do
we
it.
Can't. I mean, unfortunately she couldn't join us during the recording of the show because she's traveling. But she is our de facto, in many ways, the Minecraft expert. She works on the business. She works on that project. So
Well, if she's watching this, and I would hope she is,
or her
even if
mom.
Her mom is not watching this. I want to congratulate her and the entire Minecraft team for an amazing milestone that they hit this year. It was actually just announced this week. Like, imagine if this video, and it won't, but imagine it got 1 million views. That would be spectacular.
Yeah.
Now, imagine 1 million views 1 million times. That would be 1 trillion views. And that is how many views on YouTube alone Minecraft has racked up.
All the content that all the creators do and everything else. Yep.
1 trillion views. That is just spectacular. So YouTube was celebrating it. Minecraft and Mojang was it's just an impossible to even envision number. But like YouTube is or Minecraft has just been so relevant for so long. And yeah, it's just there's a great little post from on Minecraft.net talking about this, and they've put together like a tribute, but definitely worth watching. But congrats to the Minecraft team, and congrats to the Minecraft YouTubers who are in many ways like a huge lifeblood of the community.
Sure, they
certainly are huge connoisseurs of a number of Minecrafters in the house, in our house. A shout out to Grian for a lot of his content and many, many others. So that's just an awesome feat. And it's, again, almost unfathomable.
I mean, people forget about Minecraft because, I mean, if you're playing, you don't forget about it. But, you know, people always, the latest release and thing. But Minecraft is like, just keeps chugging along. Just keeps, you know, they keep updating it.
It keeps improving.
There's millions of people playing it all the time. There's, you know, it's in classrooms with the education edition. I mean, it is truly this beast, this amazing platform. So again, as Jeff said, thank you for everybody that supports it.
Cool. Another game that was really huge. We're in the news, by the way. Like we didn't make a big to do. That was a
smooth segue. Very smooth.
You didn't even realize it. You were being informed without knowing it, without a pre-announcement. But another game that saw a huge lift on social channels like Twitch and YouTube over the course of the last year is Among Us. And Among Us has been out on Windows 10 and through Game Pass that way, but it's now out on console. So if you want to play it on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Windows 10 or Windows PCs, and Windows 11, of course, available for Game Pass. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, you've got Among Us. Simple as that. Jump in there and see what people have been talking about risk-free. And that's not the only game. This is actually a big final, I think it's the final, but we're closing out the year. Let's just call it that way.
Yep.
For 2021 on Game Pass, and some really great games. And this is like definitely like a games for everyone. Everything from the Gunk, which we talked about, and that'll be sort of your new day one game to play if you're looking for a completely new experience. There's like chill games if you need to like get away from your family during the holidays. Firewatch and Lake, heard great things about. I've played Firewatch and it's an excellent game. Lake, I've heard awesome things about as well from Gary Whitta, big proponent of that game. Stuff for the kids, and I saw some really great just feedback from parents out there when we announced these games this week. Ben 10 Power Trip is a Paw Patrol game. Race with Ryan. I don't know if that's Ryan's Toys, that Ryan. Transformers Battleground. Stuff for the kids to play. Stuff to play when the kids go to sleep. MK11. That's something my brother and I will
I'm downloading Among Us. I forgot that Among Us is on the console now.
I just talked about it.
I know, but that's I know. I'm saying you triggered me to go download it.
Yes, exactly. Small download too, which is great. So
it's on Game Pass. So.
Yeah. So a lot of new stuff came to Game Pass. I think it was 10, 11 new games this week. So enjoy this. It's very cliche to say something like something for everyone, but I think that is accomplished this week with the most recent drop. And one thing I do want to call out, new things coming to Game Pass, things do roll off. And, definitely want to make sure you don't miss out. If you've never played the early Yakuza games, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2, those are gone from Game Pass at the end of the year. So you're going to want to make sure if you haven't had a chance to play those, play them now. And if you're into them, you can save 20% off as a Game Pass member. So grab them before that discount goes. These are three of my favorite games. So those are out December 31st.
Guacamelé's leaving, Man of Medan, Yooka-Laylee.
Oh, that was last week. You're looking at an older one. I think those might already be gone.
Oh, I'm just looking on the console. Those are leaving soon.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So.
Oh, okay. Those might still be there, but these are the ones that are leaving December 31st. Anyway, but more, as always, it seems like more in than out. So always good.
Fantastic.
One of the things I meant to mention when we were saying what we were playing, and it's not so much playing as experiencing. Have you tried the Matrix Awakens, this Unreal Engine 5 sort of demo on Xbox Series X and S?
Well, not only have I tried it, Jeffrey, I did an interview with them that was last week after the podcast. It aired on Friday.
Well, I can't assume that anybody has listened to all the episodes, but I did get to try this over the weekend, and it is stunning. And
it almost feels like the new way to do an action trailer for a movie, right?
It was really cool because you had Carrie-Anne Moss and you had Keanu,
digital versions of themselves, real life,
and sometimes digital, younger versions of themselves, and you get to. And what's really cool is after you do this sort of, I don't know if it's on rails, but like this chase sequence, which is really fun, and you pretty much can't fail it. But it's just, so you actually, what that means is you can actually sort of absorb the environment as you're playing it, because sometimes it really is blurring the lines between reality and computer graphics. Then you get to explore the city. You can jump into a car, you can run around on the street, you can just have effectively like a drone cam. And I did that. I was like, and this combination of like procedurally generate, like you could go up to like a window and you can look in the window and, oh, there's a apartment on the 14th floor. And like they built that out. And it's like, it's just truly spectacular. And it was really cool to see that the Coalition, who, as we know, Gears of War started, it was by Epic Games, and it became
it was essentially
part
a tech
of the
demo.
Microsoft family.
Yeah.
And in many ways, right? And it started with Gears 4 that was made by the Coalition up in Vancouver. But there's a tremendous amount of technical expertise and excellence at the Coalition, and they work together with the folks at Epic and on the Unreal Engine 5 to tune this demo for Xbox consoles. And so it's really cool to see. We have an article about that on
it's got my video interview
over on Xbox Wire. Scott, your interview, I'm looking at that now
with Kate Rayner,
and how they did that. Yeah. And so it's just really cool with how they made ray tracing optimizations and increased performance.
By the way, it's a free download.
Try it out.
It's a free download available for Xbox Series X and S. Go check it out.
This is one of those things you could show it to someone who might not even be interested in games. Like, how good does this look?
Because well, you know what it reminds me of?
Portends the future.
It reminds me a few years ago. Remember when games got to the point where if you walked into a room and you were playing like Madden or FIFA or something, and people were like, "That's not real," right? Remember those moments?
It's true.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
So when I was working at a game store in the mall back when the Dreamcast launched, don't laugh at me.
I'm laughing at you because I want to know which mall.
It was Leesburg Town Center. I think that's what it was called in Lake County, Florida. And I was working at a video game store there. And I remember when the Dreamcast came out and we had NBA 2K playing or NFL 2K, the original, not 2K with a number, just 2K.
2K,
right. And I remember someone like frantically coming in like, wait, there's a game on now? And it was like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. It's like, no, it's not a football game. It's a video game. And they just like, they couldn't believe it. They thought the Jags were playing or whatever. Did the Jags even exist back then? We'll have to look that up. But it was just really funny. And the funny thing is, if you looked at it now, it would look so
not
old.
Real. Yeah.
And it's come so much further.
Dated.
And it really is just continually blurring the lines. But anyway, definitely worth watching or experiencing The Matrix. So search for that, play it, download it.
Something to do for the holiday.
I might do it again.
Something to do for the holiday. Lots to do for the holiday. Any other news we got there, Jeff?
Yeah, just real briefly, want to call attention to our friends over at EA Sports working on NHL 22. They've put together a documentary series. We were talking about our Xbox documentary. There's a documentary called Breaking Ice, just about the changing face of hockey, of the NHL. And so this is going to be a multi-part series. And first episode is live now with Luke Prokop, plays for Nashville. And you can find that on YouTube. You can find it over on EA Sports. So if you just search for EA Sports Breaking Ice, you will find that.
Have you been to a Kraken game yet here in Seattle?
I have not, but
Neither have
I
I.
will. I mean, it's the first season, so it's
Let's
like
go.
super expensive.
Let's go. Let's you and I go
sure.
some night.
I mean, at the very least, it's a really cool arena. So
I think
wanna
he
check that
has
out.
season tickets. Maybe we can.
Oh yeah, let
find
him
it.
give a. He's got really good tickets because I've seen him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like he is center ice, like
Right.
7 rows up. So he owes us.
Yeah. Us.
Probably,
More or
maybe.
less.
You.
Us.
Sure.
Somebody.
Let's do that.
We'll just keep telling ourselves that.
Sure.
All righty.
He's never hooked up the Pokemon cards, so the least he can do is give us some center ice seats for
When he's out, he goes. I think he's going to be
Kraken
going out of
Flyers.
town, so I'll definitely ask him. So
that would be good. That would be good. Well, Larry, this is it.
2021.
Finish line is upon us.
Just about to close the book and put it up on the shelf. I've got quite a shelf of books up here for the years. It's
more every year.
It is quite something. Yeah, it's been. I want to thank everybody. First of all, who's helped us make this transition to a video podcast. Jeff is. You think you're the worst critic? Jeff is the harshest critic, and I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you.
Every show can be improved upon.
Yeah, there's nothing room for opportunity. But seriously, 2021 was an amazing year. With the game releases for Xbox, next year is going to be, I don't want to say even better, but it's looking even better. We've got a lot to talk about and play next year. Jeff, I know you've had a heck of a year with all the work you've been working with the creators. And by the way, thank you for all the great work you do with the creators, because you really do your team does amazing work with them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's
not much more I can add to that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But seriously, for everybody in the Xbox, in the community, I want to thank you. If you're new to Xbox, welcome. If you've been with me and Jeff and I for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years, welcome. 20 years, 20, it doesn't matter. You're just as important to us because we love every single one of you. We've got some great games, some great times ahead. It's gonna be a lovely year, and I know Jeff. I want to wish you safe travels. These new travels to no more. Is that more important than going to Florida? Do you need the safe travels?
I'm sure we'll behave, and I will spend if it's hot, which I think it might be. A lot of time I hope you get time to play some games. You know, we worked through the year. And sometimes it means you don't get to play as much as you would like, despite the fact that we put in hundreds of hours of gaming.
Right.
But just to be able to be unfettered and just sort of relax. And I'm just looking forward to having like a glass of hot cocoa or something and just sitting in my pajama pants on.
I think you're going to want a topo down there, pal.
Oh, yes. I need to track down where I can buy that. But absolutely.
But on behalf of Rebecca and Jeff and everybody on Team Xbox, I want to thank you for an amazing 2021, for all of your feedback, your support, and telling us what is right and what is wrong. And it's always a learning experience with everybody. So anyway, we're gonna wrap up. We'll be gone for a few weeks. We'll be back in January. But you can find us online. You can find Jeff and I certainly on social here. They can find. You can follow me on Xbox Live, Major Nelson, and of course, Jeff, your gamer tag is Rubes. You can find you there. He and I will usually be in a Halo match.
Usually in a Halo match.
Yeah, so whether you're matching up with us or just against us, I know we're going to have some fun. So have fun, play fair, file that feedback, and we'll see you in 2021, right, Jeff?
We've seen you in 2021. We'll see you in 2022.
There you go. That's it. All right, 2022. See you guys next month. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.